how far did we all get this time?
Well, I'm one page from chapter 10.
I'm still in chapter 8.
And
Chapter.
I am on chapter 31.
Stop bragging.
Alright,
So
Brad,
what did we
you're
read?
the closest to the beginning, so you start off.
So far today, I've read that Huckleberry just made it onto the island and met Jim. And Jim was telling the story of how he got to the island. Tabitha?
Well, I was reading about how, how Jim was telling Huck that there was a storm coming, so they took everything and put it into a cave on the island. And then after the storm and there's flooding, they found a house, an abandoned house with a dead body in it. Huck didn't want to look at the body. And then Jim, he covered the body. And then they stole a bunch of stuff from the house.
Well, I don't want to ruin it for you guys, because I'm sure that you're really into this book, but I am to a part where Huck is in a dangerous situation with two people that he's traveling with called the King and the Duke, and he just got out of being, hanged. So, that's where I'm at. So, courage, themes of courage. Bradley, what themes of courage have you seen or read?
Well, it's actually very interesting that, stop it. It took courage for Jim to tell Huckleberry his story of how he got to the island, because he had to escape his, what's the word for it?
Captivity?
Kind of.
You mean
I don't want to sound
being
racist,
sold
but
to
owners.
That's not being racist, that's
Okay.
actual history.
Okay. Well, he escaped from his owners and his captivity, and he told Huck, which he can get in some serious trouble for that in that time. So, basically,
Okay, Tabitha. Tabitha, what themes of courage
just look at her.
did you
She's
read
looking up
about?
and just like,
Alright, themes of
So,
courage.
my theme of courage was actually a piece of non-courage, because we've been talking about courage, but we haven't really talked about anything that wasn't courageous. So something that was not courageous was actually Huck when he refused to look at the body in the house.
Well, mine is kind of the same as yours, because I agree that we haven't really been focusing on lack of courage, but that's what I thought, because the people that Huck was traveling with, for me, they were all ready to let him be hanged, and they didn't really care, so I was like, not so courageous. And I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen next with, is Huck going to leave these people, or, what's going to go on?
One of my reactions when reading chapter 9 was the smell. Because Jim said that the body had been there for 2 or 3 days and not to look at it because it was already decomposing, but how could they stand the smell? Because they were in that house for a really long time.
Yeah, I've never smelled a corpse, but I'm sure it smells pretty bad. Bradley, what about you?
I already told you everything, but so far, so.
What do you think's going to happen?
I think probably that, a problem is going to arise when they have to leave the island. Are you alright? Yeah, something's going to happen, a problem's going to arise to the point where they have to leave the island, and there's going to be a lot of problems. Maybe, someone's trying to find Jim, and then Huckleberry gets discovered that he's still alive, and the search continues, maybe.
Bless you. Alright, well, that sounds like
Now, one of my questions
That's a wrap, folks.
is what's gonna happen between Jim and Huck? Cause I actually really like Jim. Jim seems like a really cool person, because he's always calling Huck honey or child.
Ciao.
Child.
Child.
Alright, well, I could tell you, but I'm not going to.
And before Eleanor spits her coffee all over herself.
Alright, so.
We should bring up some so whats because we haven't really brought up any so whats, and that'll give us a 4.
Well,
Or like
I
real
was
life,
worried about the grade,
like
not the content.
world.
well, so what
Life to
if.
book.
So what would happen if Jim just ditched Huck? Would he manage to work out like his life okay? Because it seems like Huck is doing most of the work, but I think he still needs some emotional guidance.
Yeah.
I think if Jim were to leave Huck, I think Jim probably would end up getting like captured or like having another owner.
Yeah, well, I mean, because Jim is black, and being black in those times, everyone's like, oh, you're a slave. And it's kind of true. I mean, Jim, like, was a slave. Like, he escaped from his owners, which was obviously very against the law. So, no one can see him. He's like a shadow. But it didn't count for everybody.
Also, Jim is the outstanding father figure at this time. So, if he were to leave, it'd be like 2 times the abandonment issues from what his father gave.
Alright, true. Well, any final thoughts? Very good book. Enjoying it.
Yeah, it's been good so far.
I actually really like this book.
Bradley's going to try the audiobook.
Yeah,
Alright, well,
because I read slow.
there you go, Mrs. Springman.